Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Myst III Exile. Let's continue. So I'm thinking what I should do is let's just read one part of this book at the beginning of every episode until we've read it all. So let's just start at the beginning and we'll go from this time stamp and their age calculator and go till we see the next timestamp. So 935.25. I always feared this day would come. For years Catherine and I have dreamed of restoring Denis. Whatever. Denis. I'll stick with one pronunciation and stick with it. We have dedicated our lives to the task, taking it upon ourselves to locate the citizens of Denis and convince them to return to their ruined city and rebuild. Our dream has become the dream of so many now, and the progress we have made toward achieving it is something of which we can stand proud. But I know now that it has been a mistake. So the citizens must have just gathered to different ages, is I guess the general idea there. I guess the question is what happened to the people in Riven that Catherine helped escape. I guess they went to that other weird spore city that I was held prisoner in for a brief second. The city instead of the age of Denis, which that's an odd split. The city of Denis should not be restored. It should stand forever in ruins, as both a symbol of our past mistakes and a memorial to all who lost their lives when Denis fell. The disgusting events of recent months, the war on Turahine and the deaths of Yeti in particular, have driven the truth home to me quite forcefully. Two people I don't believe ever come. I don't think these are ever referenced again. Yeah, there's probably a ton of dangling plot holes, but I know there are also 3 Myst books that very possibly explain all of that away. But the Myst books are kind of impossible to get. The 25th anniversary Kickstarter bundle, I think you got them in ebook format, maybe even in print format, but just getting them without supporting the 25th anniversary Kickstarter for a lot of money seems to be impossible, and that Kickstarter's already done and fulfilled for the most part. I think it's completely fulfilled. I thought about supporting it, and I don't support Kickstarters, but to get the fancy merchandise that comes with it, you had to put in like $250 or something. And that was just too much, particularly since I owned most of the games already. If we rebuild the city walls today, are we not giving approval to the very illness that destroyed our civilization in the first place? Are we not setting up ourselves to repeat that pattern again in future generations? Now, here's an interesting question. Do the people of Denis know how to write the Myst books? I don't think they do. I think it's only Atris, and I think Catherine was from Denis, perhaps. And so Atris's origin, wherever he was originally, is not really mentioned or shown too much. But yeah, as far as Atris and his father seem to be the only people who knew how to write these age linking books. I put much thought into this tonight, and I found only one solution. If we, the men and women who survived the downfall of Denis, are to survive, then we must break the pattern of hatred which has destroyed so many lives. We must begin our own civilization anew. And we can only do that if I write Is It a New Age? I have spoken with Catherine about this and she agrees. I only hope the others will see it as well. So that's 3 pages of dialogue that, cool and all, really doesn't have a lot to do with what's going on right now, where we have, at least we don't think it has anything to do with what's going on right now, where somebody broke into Atris's library and stole the New Age that he wrote. In a weird way, and this would only be a slight spoiler, I think the book that we have now, we had to do a puzzle to get this ball to spin this way. Very, very puzzle-like. Like, clearly this is not a real locking mechanism that would stop anybody with half a brain. It's only here to be a puzzle, both in story and outside of story. Yeah, it's a slight spoiler to say that the book we're reading now is to show that Atris is a good guy, whereas in the past we've seen him as a maybe good guy, but still very possibly a bad guy. Like a shade of gray type character. Alright, so we open this door. We've got a light. And we have a hole. And as long as this hole is here, I don't think I can do anything. Interesting. So, is there perhaps something on the wall or something I'm supposed to click on or do? Now, this isn't like the hole that we fell through at the end of Riven, and I guess what you take, because Riven kind of ended as if you were going through time and resetting and going back to the beginning of the point in Myst 1. I guess what you could translate to what really happened is you fell through the crack at the end of Riven, fell through space in some weird dimension, a space where apparently you can breathe, assuming you need to breathe. Ooh, that's interesting. You look up and it gets brighter. And you probably ended up on Myst Island, but not back in time. That would be my guess. And so inside of this, there's that contraption. And at some point, we're going to have to figure out a way to activate this. Maybe. Or maybe it doesn't matter. And I guess the only other things we can do, as we've got music playing in the background that indicates really nothing. Let's see. I don't want to climb up. I want to climb down here. Yeah. Can I walk this way? Interesting. This is definitely not something you could have done on Riven. Just walk on rocks or walk over water. Right, so we need to spin these until we can see other things. Or at least I think that's what we need to do. Clearly they were in an off position. Now the problem There's this puzzle game called The Witness that was pretty good. The problem that game ran into is a similar problem to this, is there could be a secret knob on any of these guardrails that designed to spin and activate a secret passage. But fortunately, I don't think there is. So yeah, at the end of Riven, as best as I can tell, you got back to Myst Island. From Myst Island, you then at some point traveled to Dunny and got back with Atris and Catherine, and from that point you then started just traveling wherever you wanted to, and it doesn't seem like you can or have really any interest as a character find where you're from or what home is for you. It's kind of a shame though, because you never really are given the full connection of all the worlds. You could, with a remake, honestly put every single world that has existed in one big world. Although Cyan's most recent game kind of did the exact opposite of that. They still kept it very tight and had only about 4 worlds that you traveled to. Whereas if you took the 5 Myst games, or maybe 6, I may be off on the count, and you're talking probably at least 20 or 20 to 30 worlds in the 5 Myst games, plus Uru in some form or fashion. Let's see. So this plant can hear things. We got subtitles for the hard of hearing. Bridge creaking, ocean wind, whistling rock, lagoon water. So we have a puzzle here that involves sound, and you have these red that probably you're supposed to get a specific color to, but to interact with, but I'm not even sure what I'm supposed to be doing right now. So apparently this is just a light. The idea of having a plant as part of a puzzle opens up the world a little bit differently. Because that opens up possibilities quite a lot. But in general, you still are getting the very, what am I supposed to be doing on this island mentality. And we'll get to it eventually. Let's see. We've got another animal. So when you press on this, okay. So we now know that squeaking chirps make that grow. So let's just roll back and do that. Not particularly sure why I did that, but maybe that made a bridge in some place that I don't see yet. Yeah, I think it did. Let's go over here. Now this is part of this, so this might be the back door entrance to getting where the guy is that stole the book. I'll just call it the book for now on, instead of trying to pronounce a lot of this. Yeah, in most games you don't, most Myst games by the way, you don't really have to worry too much about things. Just gonna open the door to make sure I can access this. I think we're fine for now. I'm not gonna make a fatal game over error. And we have a place where people were living. At least one person was living. What is this? We've got a new book with a leaf print on it. I have done it. I have used his swirling linking book to follow him. I touched the palm to its glowing panel and felt the tingling begin. There was a sudden sickening lurch inside my stomach, then I fell into the page. This has happened before. I know it. It happened the first time I came to this place, when I followed his murderous sons from Narayan. It happened when I used his hidden books, and it happened when I finally opened. And see, this might be a symbol for like 1. By the way, the machine. Right before the fog first ate my mind, the fog didn't find me this time. When I opened my eyes, I was alone in a room. I was standing in the home of my betrayers. I couldn't move. I was afraid. I thought they'd know that I had come and would be waiting for me, just like they had waited inside this very tusk. I was afraid they would tie me up again, that the poison snakes would strike, but the silence was unbroken. The whole house was still and without really knowing what I did. I started to search, and this is tough. I really wish all of this was voiced, and that would have been nice for a remaster. But you know, the Myst series is a little bit too niche of a series to get that kind of voice acting. Oddly, nobody's even tried to make a narrator mod, to my knowledge. It would be very helpful. Every floor, every cabinet, I found his journals, H's never-ending journals. I found the book that brought me back to this world, the lesson world he called Janinin. That's the world we're in, because that's what it said on the save file. So we know this is a lesson world. So basically, this is a world that's supposed to be a tutorial world, not for me and the game player solely, but also for his sons, Atris's sons, who turned out to be psychopaths and either came back later when they were psychopaths, or were psychopaths even when they were first allowed into these worlds. Let's see. Oh, Tamarine, my love, how long have I been trapped here? How much of my life has been eaten by the fog? The face I see in the lagoon isn't one I remember ever wearing. It's so much older, so much more savage, but it is me. It is Sabadero, and I remember what they did, how they led my people to death. So this book is kind of the counter to this book. Now, like in the first game, you had the red pages telling you that don't trust the guy in the blue book, and you had the blue pages telling you don't trust the guy in the red book. It's the same thing here. You've got the guy who broke in, set the library on fire, and stole the new Atris's book, now saying Atris is the bad guy, and here we have Atris's journal over here saying he's the good guy. Although, to be fair, 3 games in, you really have no reason to really not trust Atris. If anything, it would have been more interesting writing if Atris did betray you. Let's see how much more of this there is. Yeah, there's a lot of this and a lot of blank paper pages. So, like the previous book, let's just do one section at a time. Each of these sections are kind of important little hints, but if you just read the whole books, you'll probably forget half of it to start with later on, and it really probably won't matter. Right, we have 2 to 1 on a scale here. Another toy. That's all you can really do with it. So far we've seen less of the toys than the previous games. That might be a good thing though. A lot of the toys in Myst and Riven were red herrings, and nothing but red herrings. So here we have a finger painting of, I imagine, his love. I don't know if I want to say girlfriend or what. Here we have an elevator. Is there a way to reset an elevator? And down here are some gears that we may actually need some gear pieces to manipulate. Yeah, that's a lot of stuff to mess with. That's a real puzzle. Alright, before we mess with that though, let's come over and look around some more. Ink to write his notes, but probably not the magic ink to write linking books. This guy does not seem like he has the ability. Here we have a colored ball that is worth 3 other colored balls. This These are all little hints to puzzles in the future, I imagine. If I recall correctly, I'm pretty sure. We have more ink. You can hear a fly flying around. On this pitcher plant? So this generates electricity, and the electricity makes the magnetic rocks float up. Interesting. And more inkwells. And this rock is worth 4 of these rocks. Geez, you'd really have to take some screenshots, and that's not possible in this, as far as I can tell. I don't think this version of Myst has gotten the things that a modern game would really want to have, like the ability to take a screenshot to write down notes. Let's look here and see if there is something in the book written by our guy talking about the elevator. Let's see, we've got a picture here. We've got a marking here. Let's see, I found a way to reprogram his scanning device that requires scavenging parts from other machines in the tusk, but I think the gears I leave can still be operated by hand. Apparently the door was supposed to be a scanning device. Let's see. Okay. Well, this isn't giving me a lot of information. This gear, for instance, looks exactly the same on each of these markings. And this just tells me a few things. So, the basic question to ask would be, if I just pull this, will this bring this back down? And can we just ride the elevator? Right. Let's just go in here and close the door and look around to see if there's anything we can do. And then we'll just pull this and we'll just see what happens. The Myst series has a fondness for keeping you away from danger, and if there is like only 1 or 2 places where that stops being the case, so you can feel pretty free to do whatever you want.
Hey Tris, is that you?
He speaks for the first time.
Come to rescue your book so soon? Not yet, old friend. Not yet.
So he opens another elevator and escapes. He thinks you're Atris. Or at least I assume that's what he's doing. We can kind of... I assume this is an elevator. And he's not just locking the book in there. Interesting, you got this heartbeat sound. And he just walks off the screen. Alright. And let's just see what happens when we open this. Well, apparently we can't open the door. So that leaves us with just either watching him or pressing the button. If you press the button, the door closes and down you go. Now there's a middle tier section there. And I guess at some point this elevator was supposed to have this cage block off access to that handle and exiting the elevator. Like, the idea that Atris is just recently intrigued with security is a misnomer. Clearly, whether it's because this is a puzzle world designed to teach the kids that how to solve puzzles or not, clearly there was a lot of mechanical age style thinking going on, and mechanisms, gears and such. So I don't believe there's anything more that you can do right now. And if you were to say push this button, doesn't even do anything anymore, so that gate just is permanently open from now on. Which is interesting. Same is kind of true here. So instead of running into scenarios where you would have totally been able to flip things back and forth in Myst 1, Presto software saw fit that if you unlock a door, you just unlock that door, and that is that. And that's kind of a bold, smarter, more modern way to go with video games. It kind of tells you directly, we're not going to probably run into a scenario where you have to switch all of the switches in an upward position and then switch the first switch you ever see in the game into a downward position to unlock a secret solution to the game. Alright, let's see. I'm gonna go ahead and hit print screen just to see if maybe that would work. Nope. And then let's just go ahead and save. And we'll just continuously name these. And let's just make sure we saved. Alright, if I came over here, don't save. 1 would show me this, and 2 would show me this. So if I absolutely do need a screenshot, I can make a save file, but that's kind of it. Alright, it's been another 30 minutes, and yeah, we're gonna spend a lot of time reading. So what I think we'll have to do, since we spent probably 20 minutes of the 30 minutes reading, we'll cycle between one passage in each of the book until we're done. So starting with next recording, we'll just read Atris's journal in the next section, and then we'll move on with the game. I suppose if we got stuck on any puzzles, that would be a great point to read the book and take a break. I doubt I'm going to really have that as a problem, though. Like, the easiness of these puzzles and the more approachable they are to a modern video game player, where modern video games are stupidly easy and easily accessible and don't have to be 100 hours of banging your head against a wall. With that approach that this game has, it makes for a smoother experience, and it is definitely the reason why I feel like Myst III, in a reboot, remake, the islands at the very least, which are tutorial islands, should have been the islands that you did at the beginning of the game, or the series, and then get to Myst, and then go to Riven, and then get to the more complicated Uru world. Anyways, that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below in the description box. And if you want to support me even further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and gift me a game off my wishlist. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.